that says position. If you see here, you will see the same menu as I have, like top, right, bottom, or open full screen. This is to see our cameras. In a couple of minutes, Osvaldo will be sharing a screen. So if you want to see like bigger the images that he will be sharing, I recommend that you use open full screen, or you can place the webinar in the bottom or in the right as you prefer. Then you will also see here in the same platform that you are, you will see a chat box that says webinar chat. I invite you to introduce yourself and send message here. We will also use this chat for the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. And below you will see some poll questions. Now we will go there, but I just wanted to point out how you could find them. If you have any question or problem with the platform, feel free to also put that question in the chat. There are REDD colleagues here that will be supporting you during the whole hour. So, as I was giving you a brief introduction while we give some moments for other colleagues to attend, I will introduce you the agenda. So following this introduction that I was mentioning now, Osvaldo Quintanilla from the nesting team will present the REDD Plus Academy Learning Journal on nesting. At the end of his presentations, there will be a brief opportunity for questions. So I invite you, if you have questions during his presentations, you can send them on the chat or wait until these final 5 to 10 minutes. And we will invite you to raise your hand and just open your microphone, and we can have an open discussion for those minutes. Then I will briefly introduce practical nesting micro-learning tools that are available on the REDD Plus Academy and can be helpful to support your work. And finally, we will wrap up with a closing remark and outline possible next steps. Before we begin the presentation, let's just take another 1 or 2 minutes to better know yourself. So we would like to ask you a few quick questions about your knowledge and experience on nesting. The questions that I'm sharing here in the screen, you will see them in the platform that you are here, as I was telling below. So I invite you to, here you can vote. So have you previously worked on integrating REDD Plus projects into national or jurisdictional frameworks? And then there are just 3 questions, so I invite you to vote here in the poll that you can see on the left part of your screen. And then we can have a quick reflection of people in the room. Let me see, for example, I will post here, as I have been working. I need to vote as well. Do you believe jurisdictional approach? I do believe this one. I need to vote to see the answers. And yeah, I am not actually using this one. So as you can see now, we are having just a couple of votes now, but we can see that we are like half and half. So almost half of the audience has previously worked on integrating REDD Plus projects, while the other haven't. Now that we are receiving more votes, apparently most people haven't used it yet, as in many of our countries, nesting is still a new approach, that some of us are at early stage. This is without a question a yes, so we are, at least all in this room, we are convinced that jurisdictional approaches can resolve carbon credit and double counting risk. I invite Osvaldo to then share with us further insights about this and which key considerations must be considered in terms of accounting. And the last one, are you currently using any decision support tool for nesting strategy development, including, for example, integrated safeguard approach or considerations for multi-scale governance? Most of us aren't, while a couple said yet they are. So let's, to avoid any further delay, let's begin with the presentation. So I pass the word to Osvaldo Quintanilla, who will present us the Nesting Learning Journal. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. So let me share my screen. I think it's this one. Share. All right. Sophie, could you please confirm that the
Yes.
presentation is okay?
Yes,
Yep.
it's okay.
And what about now? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Sophie. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us to the launch of the RED Plus Learning Journal and Nesting Approach. As Sophie mentioned, this resource developed by UNEP, UNDP, and FAO through the UN RED program is designed to help countries align RED Plus implementation across project, subnational, and national levels. So our goal is to provide a practical and flexible guidance that can be tailored to your national context, particularly in the early stage of discussion and developing of nesting system. So as Sophie mentioned, my name is Osvaldo Quintanilla, and I am part of the UNDP Asia Pacific team. I am currently serve as a member of the nesting task team on the RED Plus program. So this presentation follows the structure of the learning journal and cover 5 key topics or key themes. So we will start by defining nesting and exploring why it is becoming increasingly important for ensuring RED Plus integrity and attracting finance. Next, we will discuss some specific aspects about the risks that the nesting can help address, as well as the technical foundation required to build an effective nesting system. So I will also introduce the nesting decision tree, a tool featured in the learning journal that supports initial decision making and helps navigating potential scenarios. So throughout both this presentation and the learning journal document, we have included real world case studies to show how different countries are advancing in the implementation of the nesting approaches. So the first question that we need to answer is, what is nesting? So while there is not official UNFCCC definition, nesting is widely recognized as the essential for harmonizing carbon counting, governance, and cycle reporting. So having considered many different decisions on definition related to the nesting and not having an official one from the Climate Change Convention, this learning journal defines nesting as a process of integrating RED Plus activity across different implementation scales into a consistent accounting and governance framework. So these could include project-level activities, subnational initiatives, and national programs. So this integration helps countries prevent double counting, align methodologies, and credible report results under both compliance and voluntary mechanisms. So RED Plus activities often operate at the project level and really on diverse financing sources and requirements. So, however, some projects have faced criticism in recent years for issues such as baseline setting, consultation process, and or benefit sharing. So to address these challenges, it is crucial for countries to reconcile project-level effort in a way that maintains both environmental and social integrity and ensure compliance with international climate commitments. So nesting plays a key role here. So it promotes transparency, enforce oversight, and ensure the baselines and safeguards like the free, prior, and informed consent, the FPAC, and benefit sharing are applied consistently across all levels. So by doing so, nesting upholds the integrity of RED Plus, giving buyers great confidence in quality of carbon credit, helping to increase their market value, and ensuring that emission reduction are real, additional, and not double counted. So countries pursue nesting for several reasons. So with one of the most important being the prevention of the double counting. So when both project or national actors claim the same emission reduction. So for example, in DRC, main Dombe jurisdiction overlaps between BERA project and the World Bank FCPF program, were resolved by aligning project baseline with jurisdictional accounting. So nesting clarifies ownership, ensuring accurate tracking for NDC achievement, and enable transparent, fair benefit sharing, especially for indigenous people and local communities. So noted that nesting is not always required, but it becomes essential when activities span multiple levels or when high integrity finance is sought. So before designing a nested system, it is important to start with a clear understanding of why you are implementing it. Define the purpose and the benefit you hope to achieve. Next, set specific and measurable objectives to guide both design and implementation phases. So carefully determine the scope and by establishing the geographic, temporal, and operational boundaries of the system, which will help maintain clarity and focus. And finally, consider adopting gradual improvement approach. So plan for the system to evolve and improve over time, making adjustment based on lessons learned, right? So once you decide to move forward with nesting, it's important to set clear priorities and consider key national circumstances. So successful nesting rests on three main pillars that you can see in this slide, and probably you are very familiar with them. So carbon accounting, governance, and safeguards. So carbon accounting relies on alignment methodologies, consistent baselines, and a strong monitoring system. Governance requires a clear legal framework and effective institutional coordination, and safeguards ensure rights are protected and participation is inclusive. So these pillars must work together to maintain integrity and equity through the nesting process. So let's see one by one all these elements. So the first one is carbon accounting, which forms the technical backbone of the NEST REPLA system, ensuring that emission reduction from all levels can be accurately combined without overlap or inflation. To achieve this, core elements such as the forest definition, land classification, activity data, emission factors must be standardized across project, subnational and national level. Crediting period should also be analyzed and aligned to prevent reporting mismatches. So a good example of that is Peru. Peru's RENAMI registry required all mitigation projects to use national deforestation maps and approved methodologies, making national reporting more consistent and efficient. So here we have another essential component of for the government, consider the government to implement the nesting system, is the registries. They are core elements that must transparently track project and emission reduction, prevent double issuance, and support registration with different standards, right? So the second element is the governance, which defines who participate in, benefits from, or make decisions about work class. In a netted system, governance must be effective across all levels with clear mandate, institutional arrangement, and strong legal backing. So national frameworks need to specify carbon ownership, institutional roles, beneficiary procedures, and other aspects related to the nest, while approval and registry processes should be predictable and transparent. So it is also crucial to create pathways for legacy projects to transition smoothly into the national system, maintain trust and value. So Cambodia is a good example of defining clear processes and institutional arrangement for nesting. The country is currently piloting its nesting system, and one of the main outcomes will be revised nesting guidelines that set out legal requirements for registration, baseline, and safeguard aspect associated with the implementation of the nesting. Also, Kenya is moving forward. It has established the Nested Expert Group to bring together government, indigenous people, private sector, all the stakeholders associated with the nesting implementation, fostering collaboration in shaping this nesting approach. So strong governance here not only ensure alignment, but also prevent legal issues, social conflict, and increase the confidence of all the actors. And finally, we have the safeguards, which are crucial pillars of nesting REDD Plus systems, ensuring that the emission reduction respect indigenous rights, promote gender equality, and protect both people and ecosystems. An integrated approach applied consistent standards and procedures across all REDD Plus levels, using national safeguard information system or free priority and informed consent protocols, the FPIC, and access grievance mechanisms. This unified framework helps countries to meet various requirements, including those the Cancun Safeguard, ARTRIS, VERA, and even GCF through one coherent framework. So Paraguay offers a strong example of this integrated approach. Its national SIS is designed to meet both GCF and UNFCCC safeguard requirements. It tracks indicators related to indigenous rights, gender, biodiversity, and participation, and is publicly accessible through online dashboards. The system is supported by institutional coordination and local monitoring mechanisms that allow nested projects to report directly into the national SIS. While Honduras developed a context-specific Safeguard Plus framework to address risks faced by environmental defenders and indigenous communities. The approach incorporates international principles, but is grounded in the local legal realities. It links FPIC procedures and grievance mechanisms with jurisdictional REDD Plus planning and enable project level compliance through national tools. So this integrated approach reduces fragmentation, improve efficiency, and build trust, supporting high integrity, inclusive, and fundable REDD Plus implementation. So finally, let's look at the nesting decision tree. This tool is structured based on a series of questions and answers helps countries determine whether a nesting approach is necessary, and if so, which type best fits their context. It offers practical guidelines and a key element to consider when developing a nesting approach, supports policymakers and practitioners in engaging stakeholders effectively, and serves as a communication tool to clearly explain the reasoning and consideration behind nesting decisions to stakeholders involved. So let's walk through the tool that helps countries decide if, when, and how to implement this nesting approach. So at the beginning, we need to start at the top with the follow question. Are there multiple scales of REPLAS implementation in the country? This means, do you have both national or jurisdictional program and individual REPLAS project operated at the same time? If the answer is not, if all REPLAS activity are managed at a single scale, then there are currently no nesting implications. So you can move to the dark blue rectangle in this diagram, and you can proceed with your existing approach. But if the answer is yes, we move to the next question in the next light blue rectangle. And the question is, are there overlaps between these different scales? So noted here, the overlaps can be geographic. It means the same area is covered by both a project and jurisdictional program, related to the type of RED Plus activity, or to the crediting period. It means both initiatives generate emission reduction in the same year. If there are not overlaps, again, there are not current nesting implications. But if the overlap exists, we need to assess the significance of this overlap. So the next question in the next light blue rectangle on the left should be, are the nesting implications significant enough to affect jurisdictional results? So for example, if a project emission reduction could impact the overall accounting or crediting of the jurisdictional level, this is a significant. So if not, you might consider a simple subtraction approach. Apply nominal discount to avoid double accounting. And that is the first potential result of this nesting decision tree, the first rectangle on the left. But if the implications are significant, or if there is a risk of the future overlaps, the next step is a diagnosis or or gap assessment. This is the first rectangle in the center of this slide. So this means evaluating what system, policy, and capacity are already in place, and what it could the cost to implement a comprehensive nesting approach. If the country is not ready and there is a risk of losing access to the carbon finance, so intermediate measures like a moratorium of new project or temporary agreement should be considered. So we are talking about the orange rectangle below. But if in the country or in the government there is a willingness to reach those interim agreements between scales, government and project developers can agree on how to allocate baselines, emission reduction, and benefit while the full nesting system is being finalized. If so, you can use negotiation approach, setting a clear rule or temporary clear rule for baseline allocation, benefit sharing, or more or other REDD plus element. And we move to the second potential result of this nesting decision tree, the second green rectangle in the center. And finally, in the scenario where the system are in place, or if the country is ready from the start to move forward to a comprehensive nesting approach, this is the final result or the final potential result of this nesting decision tree, which is the last green rectangle on the right. This aligns the implementation of a smaller scale activity with jurisdictional system and national reporting. It ensures robust carbon accounting, clear governance, and strong safeguards. So emission reduction are ready to be real, additional, and not double accounted. So I think it's a little bit complex to follow this diagram at the beginning, but to illustrate this revision, think in a country with both national REDD Plus program and many other private projects associated with REDD Plus. Might use this tool to identify where overlaps occur and decide whether to adopt a comprehensive nesting system or even negotiate agreement or determine intermediate measures. On the other hand, in a country just starting out with only a national program, the decision tree would confirm there is no need for nesting yet, but it should be revised as a new project emerges. So, in summary, this decision tree that is you can analyze deeply in the learning journal with more examples, with more information, provides a step-by-step process to ensure REDD Plus activity at all scales are aligned, credible, and able to access carbon finance to help country avoid double accounting, clarify role, and build system to track all the emission reduction and potential benefits. As we conclude this presentation about the content of this learning journal, so I would like to highlight a few key takeaways that you can find in the document. So first, nesting opens up expanded financing opportunity by providing country with a wider range of options for REDD Plus participation, making it essential to choose the right approach. Second, a tailored nesting strategy should be based on each country's unique context, aligning with the national priority, regulation, and leveraging institutional strengths. So nesting also plays a critical role in enhancing integrity and governance, ensuring robust carbon accounting and more sustainable REDD Plus outcomes. Improved risk management and integrated reporting help build stakeholder confidence and attract ongoing investment. And finally, we think that this nesting decision tree tool is a valuable tool to guide dialogue, assess progress, and support informed decision-making as you develop your nesting strategy. Finally, thank you so much for your attention. So we may not have enough time to address probably all your questions or hold an extended discussion today, but I encourage you to review the learning journal, focus on the area most relevant to your interest, to your work, to your country, and make use of the decision tree tools. Remember, this document is just a starting point. It is designed to support ongoing dialogue and help deepen your understanding of nesting as you move forward. So thank you so much again, and back to you, Sophie.
Thank you, Osvaldo. So for the next couple of 5 to 10 minutes, I invite you to place your questions either on the chat or I encourage you to raise your hand. You will find an icon with a hand shaking below in the menu of the webinar where you can raise your hand and just unmute your microphone. There is a question on the chat, Osvaldo, that if I am not wrong, it was also addressing about how many countries have started using nesting approaches until now. I don't know if there is something that you would like to add about that while we wait for other questions to come in.
Probably that is not information that you can find in the document in terms of the overall number, but we have several initiatives starting with the exploring analysis or try to understand more about the nesting systems in the 3 regions, Latin America, Africa, and Asia Pacific. My understanding is Indonesia is moving forward, Cambodia is moving forward, and other countries are exploring some alternative to move forward.
Thank you, Osvaldo. I don't know if there are follow-up questions from the same person that asked about that, and I don't see any.
There is
Yes.
has Madagascar solved its REDD plus issues? So we will have another webinar for specific for Africa in both in Spanish, in English, and also in French. So probably you can discuss this in deep in that webinar, because we don't have more information about what happened in Madagascar related to the REDD plus issues.
Yes. You can see on the screen if you want to join any of the other regions. We are doing this a webinar like this in the 3 regions. We are doing actually 2 in Africa, 1 in French and 1 in English, and 1 in Latin America and the Caribbean. So if you're interested in learning more about any of those regional cases, you are invited to join also those webinars. You will find information in the same page that you are registered right now, and you can register for the other webinars as well. While we wait for if there are any other questions related to the learning journal or the key consideration that Osvaldo was mentioning about accounting, governance, or safeguards, I also invite you to share if you have any experience working with nesting approaches for REDD+. When we were doing the survey a couple of minutes ago, we saw that at least there were like 10 people here in the room that have previously worked or are working on integrating REDD+ projects into into national jurisdictional frameworks. So if you want to share something of your experience that could be useful for this webinar, I also invite you to raise your hand.
Nobody?
Silence in the room. Still too early in Asia.
Yeah, we understand that it's a lot of information to process, to digest in just 20 or 25 minutes. So for that reason, the invitation is to try to get this document, try to understand the content, revision the content, to try to understand all the aspects associated with the nesting and also the implications.
Okay.
Yes, and yes, we are going to share the slide after the meeting.
Yes. Okay. So if you agree, Osvaldo, I can move forward. What follows is that I will give you a brief tour on the platform.
Is Bambang here or not? Bambang, are you here? Sorry for putting it on the spot, but do you want to share any information about the What are you doing in Indonesia about the nesting?
Yes.
Just 1 minute or 2 minutes, whatever you want. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Osvaldo, to mention my name. Yes, especially we would like to have piloting nesting in one province in Indonesia if the government agree on this one, especially because we identify there are it's not only on the jurisdictional but also in the project and alone. It's not only related to the crediting years period and also activities data, and then uh, uh, and then also at the moment, after the launch the project, we still need to revise and revisit the technical framework, especially to ensure a safeguard is already addressed, and also the maximum profitability for the province. But of course, this is not easy because it's not a lot key stakeholder especially have the same page on the nesting itself, especially. Uh, I think at the moment the government is already take a lead on this one, and then maybe uh, I think next week, tomorrow they also would like to. I think this is the first time meeting related to the nesting led by the government, and then we hope that we can get the a clear view. It's not only from the uh, technical perspective but also from the political perspective. And then of course considering uh, voluntary carbon market exists in Indonesia is a lot right now. I think nesting, but of course this is different landscape or different subnational. I think they will have a different approach on the nesting. Maybe for one province, maybe they, if there is only small project, it's not really affected to the jurisdictional, maybe the government can discount it, or maybe if so many projects in the jurisdictional, and then maybe the government can ensure that the nesting will be addressed properly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Paman. So thank you and good luck with this meeting. And we are excited to receive more information when you have this information about the potential results and how to move forward on nesting in Indonesia. Thank you so much. Back to you, Sophie.
Thank you, Bambam. While you were speaking, also a question arrived into the chat, but I guess it was somehow addressed, that it was if you could please talk about any challenge that you've encountered in Indonesia. So I guess that is addressed. I don't know, Osvaldo, if you want to share something else. Yes.
So ask this. So basically, this document is not specific for one country or one region. So this document was designed to try to address the main requirement, the main situation, the main implication of the nesting associated with a generic approach. So basically, it's not proposed a specific design of nesting. It's only proposed a path to explore what are the alternatives, analyze potential implication, and try to aggregate and collect more information from different stakeholders to understand the nesting. So basically, it's a tool to try to move forward in the final design of a nesting system, but under the proper or the tailored circumstances in a specific country. It wasn't designed for a specific situation. So if I understand the question properly. And also probably there is a question for Indonesia, but probably you can connect it to each other with Bambang, if it's possible.
And there was this question, Osvaldo, I don't know if you read it already. Do you work with the standard to seek possible alignment of methods and make nesting easier? Probably it's related to what
the document doesn't establish any potential way to resolve this alignment between the standard of the national framework. The approach of the learning journal is to try to set enable conditions to move forward and exploring with all the stakeholders conducted by the government and try to find the better situation to move forward in the nesting system in specific countries, but also try to understand what are those conditions, because in some country probably there are more REDD Plus project than another, or probably there are more subnational or subnational approaches or national approaches. So probably the situation in countries are completely different. So for that reason, this nesting learning journal document is not for a specific situation. So for that reason, we didn't provide any alignment between standards or national frameworks.
Good. I don't see any new question now, but so I will move forward, but we still have some minutes left that we have planned for questions. So I know, as Osvaldo was telling, that there is a lot of new information to process in a short period of time. But if you have more questions, while I will show you now the platform, feel free to paste it in the chat and we can resume them if we have time before the webinar ends. So, as we were telling, this nesting learning journal and the micro-learning tools are part of the REDD Plus Academy, that it's an effort of REDD Plus to support countries in capacity building. I will share now my screen and yes, let me know once you see it. I guess that you are seeing it okay now. So you're here in the same window as I am. So we encourage you to explore the Learning Journal and its tool, whether your country is just beginning to consider nesting or is it already refining on existing systems, as these resources offer valuable structure and insights. Here you see, you are in the same screen as I am. If you go below, you see the other webinars that are planned, the regional webinars. Here you can subscribe for any of the other regions. And if you go below, now it's long because of the chat, but then it will be shorter. Now we will reduce all that. You will see here the Learning Journal. Sorry, it's taking a bit too long, but here is the Learning Journal. You can read it, you can download it. This is the full PDF, so we really encourage you to explore it. If you have more questions, you can reach us out anytime about this. And then here, these are the micro-learnings that we were mentioning. We have a pre-knowledge check. This is a survey that you can do to check your knowledge on nesting. And if you go below, you will see here that these are all the micro-learning tools that we have been mentioning. These micro-learning tools, they actually contain like pieces of the journal. You will not find something different of what it's already in the PDF, but these are more interactive ways for you to review, or if you want to, if you have already read the PDF and you want to go back to some part specific, you can use here this part. So you will see one, for example, what is REDD Plus nesting, and if you click in the arrows, you can navigate the micro-learning tool. So this one, for example, what are the definitions? These are all, as you can see, you will click. These are all interactive, so we encourage you to explore them. Here, if you press start, you will see a video. This is a nesting decision tree. This is what Osvaldo was presenting a couple of minutes ago. It is available now, so you can navigate the tree after the session, or you can go back to it. This is available online and will remain available online for you to use it. You can press start here and you can navigate it. So for example, are there multiple scales of REDD Plus implementation? You can place yes, yes, or you can here place no. And then there you can go navigating the tree that I won't deep dive here because Osvaldo already did. Then we have microlearning tools on the key aspects for nesting, like carbon accounting elements. Again, here you click in the arrows and you're able to navigate the tools, governance systems, and integrated safeguard systems here. And below, you can also check your knowledge here with a quick survey to see what you have learned so far. So this is in a nutshell the tool. We encourage you to explore this, as I was telling before. And looking ahead, the UN REDD, and in particular the nesting task team, will continue to support countries through technical assistance, policy dialogues, and regional global exchange. So we invite you to stay engaged to this platform. It is important also to highlight that while here we are focusing on the REDD Plus nesting learning journal, there are new learning journals that will be launched during the year related to safeguards, benefit sharing, national strategies, and many other related topics. So you can see here also other materials that can be useful for your work. For example, there will be also coming live soon on carbon markets. You can also here join communities of practice. There are several available depending on your region, and find materials for our previous learning labs and workshops. So I'll stop here before saying goodbye for another moment to see if there is a new question or something came out while I was presenting this. Osvaldo, is there something else?
Not really, Sophie.
Going back to the chat. Okay.
So, but still, this is a permanent platform, so you can check all this information whenever you want. And also, if there are any questions that you will probably arise in the future, you can put in this chat, and also in using this platform, right, Sophie? And we can try to support it to you with some answer.
Yeah, Osvaldo, I found a new question. Thank you for that. I think it's coming from Kamala, if I'm pronouncing it correct. And it's, do REDD Plus countries need to develop specific nesting approaches, for example, guidelines, regulations, decisions?
My short question is, there is not a specific nesting approach. So basically, what they need to do, the country, is analyze the context of the countries and determine what is the situation in terms of the if there existing some subnational approaches related to the REDD Plus or standalone project associated with that, and determine what is the best path to ensure integrity in terms of the environmental and social aspect, and try to avoid double accounted. So basically, this learning journal could be help to determine what is the capacity of the government, what is the intention, what are the priority, what are the regulations in place to support this nesting system. So basically, my short answer is, is there a specific nesting approach? No, but in terms of how you need to move forward to finalize with a comprehensive nested approach in a specific country, you can use this tool and the information in this learning journal.
Thank you, Osvaldo. Is there any follow-up question for the person perhaps that asked that? Or anyone in the room that would like to share final reflections as well?
Probably with your wrap up, Sophie, that was enough. So my invitation is to try to get this document, explore the document, analyze the document, and try to apply the nesting decision tree for your cases. And you can share this information in this platform for a collective information, to get this information and try to understand how is this approach in different countries and different situations. So yeah, thank you so much anyway.
Okay. So thank you for your time and participation. A special thanks for the countries who shared their experience and helped shape this nesting learning journal. And thank you to the colleagues from UNEP, FAO, and UNDP that are part of these nesting task teams, and to our partners and donors who contributed also to this learning journal. We invite you, as we have mentioned a couple of times, to stay tuned and stay engaged in the platform to receive further updates and materials. And have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.